Let's talk about a feeling pretty much every founder knows. You have a huge launch, a big win, and then just crickets, radio silence. All of a sudden your brand story goes from this huge bang to a quiet whimper. It just feels static, totally disconnected. Well, today we're going to dig into why that happens, and we're going to explore the strategic shift you can make to go from a static brand to a living, breathing story.
So, does this sound familiar to you? Is your brand only really making noise when there's something massive to announce? If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone. But here's the thing. That silence between the big milestones, it's actually a strategic liability. It creates distance, and it stops your brand from feeling, authentic and real.
There's actually a name for this problem. It's called the performance tax. It's that invisible pressure, that little voice in your head that says every single thing you post has to be this profound, perfectly polished milestone. And honestly, it's a huge strategic liability, because the sheer weight of that expectation, well, it usually leads to saying nothing at all.
And here's the real consequence of that tax. Your storytelling completely shifts from being a consistent practice, a muscle you build over time, into this high-stakes performance. And just like any big performance, the pressure is just immense. You overthink everything, you hesitate, and then ultimately you just stay silent. And just like that, your brand's voice, it disappears.
Okay, so the solution requires a pretty fundamental strategic pivot. We have to move away from what we call a production mindset and into a presence mindset. Just think about what that means. We're shifting from being polished to being honest, from feeling like we have to be profound to embracing the real power of being simple. And probably most importantly, we're going from pressured and infrequent to consistent and real-time. This isn't just some new tactic. It's a completely new operating system for your brand.
All right, let's analyze this through a real-world business case. And just to be clear, this isn't some fluffy, nice anecdote. This is a masterclass in that strategic pivot from production to presence, and you'll see the real ROI it generates in audience trust and engagement.
So picture this, a founder who is completely paralyzed by that performance tax we were just talking about. She was always waiting for those big, perfect moments, because she truly believed that was the only story worth telling. And the result? Near total silence. And on the rare occasion she did share something, it just felt forced, kind of inauthentic. Her brand was totally stuck.
The advice she got was so simple, it was actually transformative. She described this really quiet, ordinary moment, literally just morning light moving across her desk, and the feedback she got was just 3 words: "That is enough." And that right there, that's the crucial insight. The permission to just be simple is what unlocks consistency. That ordinary moment was the key. And here's what happened after that shift in her thinking. By just embracing the small, the simple, and the honest, all that pressure just vanished. Storytelling was no longer this dreaded performance. Instead, it became this natural, consistent rhythm. And her audience? They felt that authenticity immediately, and they just deepened their connection to her brand. So how do you actually put this into practice, right? It's not just a mindset. It's a practical framework. We call it the Ordinary Moment Protocol. And I want you to think of this as the architectural blueprint for building a brand that feels trustworthy and truly lived in.
It's incredibly straightforward, really. Step 1, notice. Just actively look for a quiet, simple moment in your day. Step 2, capture. Document a simple detail about it, a thought you had, something you saw, a feeling. And finally, step 3, share. Post it. Honestly, without overthinking the polish. That's it. That's the entire protocol. See, it's a practice, not a production.
And let's talk about the payoff here, the return on this investment, because it's huge. This isn't just about feeling good. It's about building a much stronger brand. Your audience connects with simplicity because, let's be real, in a world of constant performance, those simple moments are what we all relate to. That raw honesty, it builds deep, lasting trust. Consistency develops an authentic voice for your brand. And for you, as the founder, the whole act of storytelling just becomes lighter and way more sustainable. This quote really just gets to the heart of the whole strategy. Strength in storytelling doesn't come from that one rare, perfect performance. It comes from the regular, honest practice. It's all about frequency over some flawless execution. So what we've really been building towards this whole time is this idea of narrative rhythm. This is your brand's new operating system, a shift away from a forced, unnatural process and into a sustainable, authentic flow of communication.
This right here really summarizes the entire transformation. You're moving from a brand story that's based on pressure to one that's based on presence. You're going from needing these huge moments to just beginning with the small ones.
And most importantly, you're transforming storytelling from a high-stakes performance into a confident, consistent practice.
So the question for you is pretty simple. Are you ready to stop performing and just start practicing? Are you ready to trade the pressure of perfection for the power of presence and finally find your brand's unique narrative rhythm?
If the answer is yes, then the next logical step is to turn this whole insight into a consistent daily practice for your brand. To learn how you can build that rhythm systematically, go ahead and check out the link in the description. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.